Okay, good afternoon, everybody. This is Tony Burlow with IHC Specialty Benefits. I think we're going to go ahead and get going here. So first off, thank you everybody for taking time today to join us on the webinar. We know that everybody's busy and there's a lot going on, so we thank you for taking time here today. My name is Tony Burlow. I'm a regional sales manager with the IHC Specialty Group. I've also got Eric King on the call, who is he's the Vice President of INX Cloud. He is my technical support guru, so he is on the call as well. We also have sales executives from IHC on the call as well today, Jeff McCabe. So again, just wanted to thank you first and foremost for taking time out your day to join us on the call today. We wanted to take some time here today and have a conversation about something that we feel is very relevant right now with everything going on with the corona COVID. We thought it was a very relevant topic. We've been getting a lot of great feedback from the brokers in this space, and thought it'd be a timely conversation to have. So again, we wanted to talk about a few things that could be of great benefit for you in the market today. Like I said, that are very relevant. So although I'm going to go through the sales platform on a high overview, I want to talk specifically about the private exchange ability that we have and how that can make an impact for you out in this space today. So let me just touch on a couple things on real quick on why the INX Cloud. You know, we did a survey and asked some of you folks what you're using today, and so I just wanted to hit on a couple bullet points on the INX Cloud and some of the value add that they have there. So first and foremost, on the INX Cloud, we have access to all carriers that are on the FFM. So when I say FFM, for those of you that might know, that is the federally facilitated marketplace. So those are all the states that are going to be federally based exchanges. We have every single carrier. We have access to those on this platform regardless of the state, as long as it is through the FFM. So that is a key component. So there are not carriers that are excluded. Any of them that participate in the FFM are going to show on the INX Cloud, which is very relevant. Okay. Number two, this is not an enhanced enrollment site. It is much more stable. I've used this platform at key times, peak times during open enrollment. This platform has been extremely, extremely stable. That said, .gov, has overloads, and there can be times when .gov may not be up and going all the time. But again, this platform has been extremely stable, which is vitally important for your time. You don't want to get through an ACA enrollment that you're 45 minutes into and the site crashes. So again, the stability factor. Another big topic I like to touch on is the client protected data. So anything that you do on here, you're putting in your client's information, personal information. We do not access that data. We don't go in there. We don't look at it. We don't, try and cross-sell anything. The only time that we may look at a client file or an application is if you are needing assistance with that particular client. If you need something on a technical perspective, you can reach out and we will definitely assist with that. So that would be the only time that we're going to go in and view any client information, which is key. You work hard to build that client, your client up and keep those clients. So we don't want to go in there and cross-sell or look at that information, which is very important. Another big topic is the supplemental attachment or the ancillary plans that can be sold. So not only with an ACA plan can you sell an individual ancillary product as a bundle, but again, you have the ability to offer a short-term medical as an alternative option. So again, having that ability to integrate with one application, sell an ACA plan and gap it with let's say a accident or a critical illness gap protection plan can be done on one application on this particular portal. There are no monthly fees to access the portal. We do not charge a monthly fee for this at all. This is free due to your relationship with IHC. We do not charge you that monthly fee, which is another great point. Okay, but most importantly, we wanted to really talk today on the private exchange. The individual private exchange access. Again, this is something that we're going to give to you as the broker for free due to the relationship you have with us here at IHC. And we think this is extremely relevant now. As many of you know, there are millions and millions of people being laid off, losing coverage through their employer. And right now, we just, a lot of those folks might not have the proper direction as to where to go and what their options are. So this is an extremely relevant topic. We know that, unemployment claims are through the roof. Unemployment in general is through the roof. And a lot of these folks have had coverage through an employer for most of their career here. So oftentimes we're finding that those folks may not know where to go. So they're needing assistance, and that's where you, the broker, comes into play, and more importantly, the INX Cloud private exchange. Okay, so I want to just run through a couple bullets here on the platform in general. This is the home screen that you're going to see here for the INX Cloud. So if you have a brand new customer and you want to sell a policy to them, you will simply go through the start quote process. I'm not going to go through that process, but rather I'm going to do it from the customer facing perspective here in just a moment. But you as the broker have the ability to start a quote, be on the telephone with a customer, and enroll them into an ACA plan, along with any of the ancillary offerings that you would like to offer to that customer as well. You have the ability to click report a life change. So if they have a current policy and they need to update it, which is another relevant topic, their income might have changed. So you have the ability to go in there directly from the portal and update that income, for example, if that's what you are needing to update. But most importantly, in the tools section here, you're going to see the tab for individual private exchange. When I click this link, this is going to open this up, and this is really what we wanted to drill down here today on. So in the private exchange tab, we go in here and we've got the ability to do a couple of things, okay? Not only do you have the controls and levers on the back end to kind of control the flow in the process, which I'll touch on in just a minute, but more importantly, you have the ability to go in here and let's say you have a group that they have employees that are being laid off, they're losing that group coverage, and you want to direct them and create a pathway for them to go so that they have options, whether it's an ACA plan or an alternative option. We can go in here and create this private exchange with that particular company's information. So if it's ABC company has employees that are in need of coverage, we can put this logo and name in here for ABC company. We have the ability to color match exactly the color for the company logo. We also have several different levers in here, like I said, to control that flow. So if you want to direct this customer, if you want to allow these guests to go in here and look at their ACA options or short-term medical options, we can turn this on and allow a guest to enroll from front to back, okay? So you have the ability to turn that on and off. If you're a broker that wants to assist in this aspect, you can turn this off, and then that will get you more involved with the application process. So they can go front to back through the whole entire application process if that's how you want to set it up. You also have the ability to allow the guest to go to an intake form, which the intake form is simply going to give you all of the pertinent information so that you can submit an application, an ACA application through healthcare.gov and through INX Cloud. So it'll ask all of the income questions. Do they have access to employer coverage, affordable coverage, employer coverage? It'll give you all that pertinent information if that's the path you choose. Like I said, some brokers like to assist. Others may want to allow these customers to go through the entire process on their own. You also have the ability to touch on email notifications. So the minute that a consumer would go to this private exchange, you would be notified. Require all quoting fields. So again, that would require them to enter their name and all their pertinent information, which we can turn on or off, so we can make that optional, okay? Allow guests to contact their broker. So if you want to have the button up, which I'll show you in a few minutes, that they can click that they want to go ahead and contact their broker, that can be turned on as well. So again, from a personalization perspective, if you have a company that these folks are getting laid off and need access to ACA coverage, not only can we create a subdomain that includes ABC company, which we could put in here, ABC company. So we can personalize the embedded enrollment link here specific to that particular group, but you can also control these levers on the back end here. Now, the other thing I wanted to touch on as well is if there's particular carriers or ACA carriers that you want to offer only on the back end, we can go in here and based on states, you can, if you have state licenses in multiple states, we can turn those on and off very simply. We can tab on the lines of coverage and offer certain coverages, offer on exchange. Not only that, we can go into the specific carriers and you can turn those on and off. So again, it's very easy to navigate, very easy to build. Now, again, this is a free service we're going to offer due to your relationship with IHC. And I get asked a lot of times, but we can create as many of these private exchanges if you would like. So let's say you have 30 groups that you deal with and you have employees that are losing coverage. We could create 30 individual private exchanges, one for each one of those companies to make it very personal for them and very recognizable, okay? So you can create multiple exchanges. We can control the back-end carriers that are being offered, as well as the pathway in which that these customers can go, okay? Now, why is that, again, why is that so pertinent right now? Because like we said, there's folks out here that are needing coverage and they don't necessarily know where to go. So by creating these virtual private exchanges, we could put this out on the company portal. We could send emails to these customers. And again, they have a direct consumer-facing link. So this is just an example of what the private exchange looks like from a consumer perspective. So we created this particular one for the demonstration purposes here today. But again, it's very user-friendly. All right. So when we go in here, we've got Mogador Tool and Die. So that would be the company, for example, that we were dealing with today. The consumer would get on this portal and they could enter their information. I'm using an Ohio-based zip code today, but you've got general basic information that we would collect. We're going to put in here the demographic information, male. I just used my own date of birth. And if you have multiple agents, you would have the ability to list the specific broker on this that's integrated with the national producer number. So once we go ahead and we enter this basic information, we're going to click OK to the next screen. Sorry, this has been sitting for just a second. So we're going to tab over. And the first thing that's going to come up here for the customer is, depending on how you have this set up on the back end, you're going to have the lines of coverage that they would like to look at. So medical is going to be the ACA federally facilitated marketplace plans. We've got short-term medical in here, and I put on a gap product just for demonstration purposes as well. Now, below that, you're going to have the premium subsidy estimate, which is going to be fairly accurate. It is integrated with healthcare.gov, so I've used this multiple times, and it's been very accurate. It might change slightly once the consumer or you, the agent, actually enters the information into healthcare.gov, but I found that it is extremely accurate, okay? This next tab is going to just, touch on the effective date of a short-term medical plan, if that's one of the things that they are looking for. But basically, we're just going to hit the next tab. And when we hit next, this is going to bring up the household information. Now on this screen, they're going to have the defaulted zip code that you put in. It's going to ask them to enter their household income and the number of people in their household. Okay, so I just put in $32,000 for a household of one for this illustration. It does have a tab here asking if affordable employer medical coverage is available. There's all these question marks here that you can hover over that will actually give you additional information if needed. And then you can click calculate, which I did here, and it's showing that they're at 263% of the federal poverty level, so that this particular customer would be eligible for a $242.59 premium subsidy, okay? Now keep in mind, again, the value of this is we've got the ability to create these and put these out on an employer website. We can drive these employees who are being furloughed to these portals and have a pathway forward to access the ACA plans, okay? So once we've done the premium subsidy estimate, we're going to simply click next. And on the next screen, what you're going to see is these customers, the consumers, will have access to all of the federal plans. In this particular situation, it's showing the Anthem Bronze Pathway HMO 8150. Now, a couple of things I wanted to point out is on the right-hand side, when it's breaking down the monthly cost, it's going to factor in that estimated subsidy in the final price here. Okay, so you'll see that subsidy that we showed on the previous screen is reflective here, and this would be the monthly cost based on that subsidy amount that we inputted here. Okay. A couple other things is it's going to give the metallic level so they can make reference to the bronze. This particular plan is a bronze plan. It's eligible for a subsidy. It is an HMO. It's also going to give a nice snapshot of the plan benefits, so deductibles, coinsurance, PCP, and generic drug copays. We've also got a real nice summary up here. We've got a provider lookup, which is linked directly to the carrier site. We've got the ability to look up drugs or prescription drugs. And then on the plan details, this will also give access to brochures as well as the standardized CMS benefit form. So that's a very detailed sheet if you're looking on, how they would handle mental health. It'll give very specific details around that, okay? Now, another nice feature here is when the consumer is on here, they can click, I want to compare this particular plan and I might want to compare this one here. They have the ability to select up to 12 different plans for comparison on here. So again, very user-friendly. When they select the plans, they just click this button here, and it generates a real nice professional layout in a PDF form so that they can take a look at this and see some of the different categories of the benefits on that particular plan. It also will factor in that subsidy amount on here as well. Okay. All right. So again, consumers looking on here, they say, hey, this Anthem Bronze pathway looks good. They're going to simply click Select Plan. And once they select that plan, it's going to pop up and validate who's going to be on there. So if there was multiple family members, they could uncheck or check to make sure that we are correct as far as who's going to be covered on that ACA plan. All right, we're going to hit Save and Next. And then, like I said, what's really neat about this site is, a lot of these folks that are being furloughed, they may not have the financial means right now, so the ACA option and the subsidy may be the best path for them to go, but there are alternative options on here. So we have the ability to integrate short-term medical coverage on here. So for this particular customer, you can see there's some options. It's got the very similar layout. We've got the ability to compare multiple short-term medical plans, plan summaries, as well as the brochures are on here as well. So again, they can take a look and see what other alternative options there are for them through this private exchange. So not only the ACA on the federal marketplace, but we can also show short-term medical plans, which again can be controlled on the back end levers on how you would want to structure this. Okay, so in this scenario, customer wants to go with the ACA plan. They're going to simply tab to the next line of coverage here, which is going to be the gap plans. So here we go. They purchased a high deductible bronze plan, and now they've got the ability to integrate a nice gap plan on here. So for example, they could put on a $7,500 gap plan, which is going to give them $7,500 in accident, $7,500 in critical illness, and then it's got an accidental disability income benefit on there. Same layout as it was on the previous screens here, but again, this is a vital key. I think this is really neat because if these folks can only afford to have the bronze plan, it's nice to be able to have a gap option for them that's going to help protect them. Because let's be honest, if they can't afford to pay a high dollar premium, they probably can't afford to pay an $8,100 deductible out of pocket. So again, if they like this plan, they can simply select it, validate the effective date of that gap product, and hit Save and Next. And then what it's going to do is it's going to take us to our summary screen. So again, it's going to show the ACA options with the gap plan that was chosen. Depending on how you have the back end set up for the consumer, they could actually click Begin Application and go through this entire process and submit their application for the ACA and the ancillary product at one time, okay? This is a vital component. I don't know of many other platforms or anybody that else has the ability not only to create the private exchange, but also integrate the ancillary sales in this manner, okay? Now, like I said before, in the back end, we can control several different things. So for example, I have it turned off where the consumer could not go through the entire application in this scenario. They would either have to click the intake form and complete all the necessary questions. Then the broker could go ahead and complete the application on behalf of the customer, or they could just simply click contact broker and they could reach out and have a conversation. Maybe they need a little help making a decision around what it is that's best suited for them, okay? Or they can just simply print this out. But again, if they decide to move forward and you had it set up for them to go through the entire application, they would click this, it would bounce them over to healthcare.gov, complete all the necessary information, and then it would return to the enrollment site to finalize the application, okay? So we really think this is a vital topic right now. The feedback we've gotten, we did the brief questionnaire prior to this webinar, and there was a heavy indication that there's a need for this. There's millions and millions of people losing coverage, and again, they're not sure where to go. So we feel that this is a great way to not only provide that pathway for these folks, and give them access through this portal, but make it personalized and make it feel very nice and warm to them, okay? Now, the other thing I wanted to just touch on here is once they complete this application, you will have the ability, whether they enroll on the private exchange or you do it yourself and assist that customer, okay? You're gonna see all the enrollments are gonna show up here on your portal as you log in as the agent. You will see any enrollments that they have. You'll be able to see those specific plan designs, okay? And then once you get customers enrolled here, you also have the ability to do an export on this particular platform. So if that's something that's important to you, you can export all of that information if needed. So not only do you have that private exchange, but we also have just a standard quoting link that you can utilize and send out to customers as well. But again, we feel like this private exchange is a vital component right now because it is very, very relevant right now, and it's a great solution. Now, keep in mind, in order to access this platform, you will have to be you have to be certified. You have to be FFM certified. So if you are not currently FFM certified, it takes it takes probably 3-4 hours to complete that particular training. We validate that you are FFM certified when you register for the agent portal. So that is something you're definitely going to want to have set up prior to signing up for the INX Cloud. The other thing I wanted to touch on is if you are a large agency or a general agent, we have the ability to create administrative back-end access to this. So if you've got someone in your office that wants to help with this and kind of keep an eye on the business and what's coming in and monitor that, we do have the ability to create administrative access for you to help manage those enrollments through the private exchange. And on that same note, if you've got brokers or downline agents, we have the ability, once you get set up, to create a personalized onboarding link for your downline agents, which all will integrate then. And like I said, give you the ability to access and monitor those things on the back end, okay? So again, that's the big topic today. We just feel as though the private exchange and given access ACA is a vital component right now. It is a very hot topic, and this could be a great tool and pathway to provide a service for you for those groups and give them a pathway. So again, I'm going to touch on just a couple things with INX Cloud. Again, you've got access to all the FFM ACA carriers. Every single one of them on the federal exchange is going to be accessible on this particular platform, okay? It is not an enhanced enrollment. It is a much more stable site. It is very stable as far as the platform goes. Client information is protected. That's the number one thing. We want to make sure that that client information is protected. Your block of business is protected. You've worked hard to build that block up. And nobody should be accessing that information, like I said, unless there's an issue that we need to assist with. That would be the only time we're going to ever take a look at a particular client. And most importantly, the supplemental attachment rate. like I mentioned before, if folks are in a financial crisis and they're going to the ACA market and can only afford to get a bronze plan, which is an $8,100 deductible, or double if it's a family, it's vital to be able to provide those options and a nice gap plan to protect them in the event that something happens while they're on that high deductible plan. No monthly fees. We do not charge a fee for any of the access to the platform. There's not a monthly charge for that. Like I said, so we'll make sure that we get you set up. And most importantly, again, we think the private exchange and the ability to have this access for everybody is very pertinent right now. So again, that's why we wanted to really touch on this and have a webinar today to talk about the opportunity that we have here on the private exchange. So what I'd like to tell you is if you're interested in accessing the INX platform, please contact your point of contact at IHC. Okay, so reach out to the person that you normally work with at IHC. Otherwise, you can also, in our chat feature on the webinar, if you want to type interested into the chat feature, we will make sure that the appropriate sales rep or point of contact will circle back with you and get you the necessary information to get you set up on the INX platform. So again, either reach out to your point of contact directly or go ahead and type in interested into the chat feature, and we will make sure that we follow up with you and get you the necessary information. Okay. So I'm gonna stop there. If there's any questions, we've got a few minutes. If you want to type in any questions, I can address those. If there are questions that we do not get to on the call here today, I can guarantee that we will follow up and get you the necessary answers. When you do type in a question into the chat feature, we have all of your email address and contact information, so we will make sure to follow up and answer any questions that come through. So I'm going to stop there. Kayla, do you know, are there any questions coming through that we could address now for a few minutes?
There are. We have a few questions coming in. There is a credits tab on the top right. Can you talk a little bit about the credits?
Absolutely. So great point. So while we don't charge a monthly fee to access the portal, what we do is we call them tokens or credits. So ACA submissions require a credit. Now that said, this is something that we've thought through quite a bit. Every time you sell an ancillary product with IHC, you're going to earn an additional credit. So whether you sell a standalone dental product or you sell a short-term medical on here with a gap product, we're going to give you a credit for every ancillary sale that you submit with us on the platform. The other thing is I would ask you to reach out to your point of contact if you need access to get more credits. We are definitely willing to work with you on that perspective. So, the credit situation, we will work with brokers on to make sure that you have access to enough credits so that you are able to service your customers and get them the coverage that they need.
Great. Another question, there's actually a few questions around minimums and maximums for either groups or the amount of people that can be quoted on the platform. Are there any minimums or maximums for this?
It's a great question. No, so there are no minimums or maximums. So the portal, when they have that embedded sales link that we get out to everybody, there could be multiple people on that platform at one time. We've upgraded servers, and again, we're ready to handle the flow, so there should be no issues at all, no minimums, no maximums. So again, we just really want to provide this as a service and a tool for you to use with these groups, but no minimums or no maximums. Am I correct in that, Eric? I'll just touch with Eric, the technical guy here. I'm correct in that, right?
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you.
All right, there are also a couple of questions. I know you touched briefly on being certified for the ACA and FFM. Can you just recap again a little bit about how to get certified and also what getting certified means for your access specific to state availability and products for both the ACA and IHC products?
Sure, great question. So to get certified, FFM certified, you will go through the CMS portal. It is a free training. So basically, when you go to the CMS portal, there is access to the individual marketplace training. Like I said, it's going to run through some different training topics with some quiz questions at the end of each of them. I did mine in a couple of hours. I'd say maybe 3 hours it took me. But again, it's to get you a general baseline knowledge of the federal exchanges. So through CMS.com, you can access that training for the individual marketplace. And then once you get through that process, you will have an assigned username for CMS, which goes into this website. But again, that is a vital component in order to get set up with INX Cloud because of the ACA marketplace. That is just a mandated rule that you have to have that certification in order to offer any of the ACA plans. Now, regarding product availability, again, once you're ACA certified, that's going to open up all of the ability to sell any of the federal plans in states where you are licensed. We do have access to all the big carriers, so if there's a particular carrier that you might not have access to, we can help point you in the right direction with that as far as ACA carriers. The IHC product suite does not require you, so you can get contracted with IHC without having an ACA or FFM certification, because those are non-federal ACA plans that we offer. But again, to get access to this portal, you must be certified. So you will have to go to cms.gov and complete the appropriate training in order to get set up on the INX Cloud because of the federal marketplace availability on here, and we can't turn that off.
Great. And then last question here. There are a few questions actually about if this platform can be used for both group and individual products. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, so on the private exchange, this is really going to be driven on the individual side. So the private exchange is going to be consumer facing, right? Like we said, going out to those employees that have been laid off or furloughed and looking for access to individual coverage. This portal does have access for group quoting ability. I'm not going to get into that on this particular webinar, but there's a lot of functionality on the back end with the INX Cloud. So we do have the ability to get in and do the group quoting and census information on it. There's a decision tool that's built in there. But speaking in the private exchange world, this is strictly for individual options, as these folks are losing their group coverage, which is going to trigger a special enrollment for them. So again, that's why we thought this was very pertinent. So this is going to be specific to individual coverage options.
Great, thank you, Tony. That is, I think that sums up the majority of the questions here.
Okay, so again, just to recap, thank you everybody for taking time today with us. We try and keep these in a very timely 30 minutes or so. We know you're very busy. If you have any questions, please reach out to your rep or your point of contact at IHC. And again, if you're interested in getting signed up or need additional information, please feel free to type "interested" into the chat feature, and we will make sure to circle back and follow up with you with any questions or to help get you set up on the cloud. And thank you again. You all have a great afternoon, and please be safe. Thank you much.